What direction do Naruto games go from here? What kind of games can they make without what? Without Naruto? That's a great question. After playing through and ranking every single Naruto game that ever released in the West, you folks have some questions about Naruto games, like what Naruto game has the most messed up character balancing, like the most batshit insane meta? I remember Clash of Ninja started well and it was a fighting game, but balance-wise, they made Rock Lee playable and that was basically a boss character. That wasn't the craziest because they kinda doubled down on Clash of Ninja 2. They added the Kankuro puppet, Akamaru, Broken Awakening characters. Half of that roster just isn't balanced at all. That one sticks out the most to me because it is a fighting game, but if you want to see something truly broken, Itachi from Uzumaki Chronicles 2. It's not even funny how powerful he is. So I hope you guys are ready for a lot of fun Naruto game facts as I answer all of your questions. Was it hard for you to go through all the Naruto games or did you enjoy it? I enjoyed every single Naruto game, the good ones and the bad ones, for about an hour. It was always interesting to see and discover where they were taking each series, how were they trying to innovate, what concepts they were trying out every time they changed direction. That was interesting, and that lasted for about an hour or two. After that initial impression, a lot of them were pain, because even though a lot of them do something new at the start, they don't evolve on that concept a lot, so most of these games are just very straightforward. They just want you to play the same thing for about 15 hours, so yeah, a lot of pain. There were good games though, and those are always fun to play, and that's why I recommend them. Which games do you want a sequel of? I don't think any. If I had to pick maybe the Ubisoft games, I'd like to see a new action-adventure game in that style. I would also like to see a Naruto Fighters, but nothing like that has ever been done before, so if I were to pick a sequel for a Naruto fighting game, yeah, I'd love to see a new Clash of Ninja, but I'm mostly looking forward to new stuff. I know a lot of people want to see a Storm 5. I'm not one of those people. We've had 6 games already. If you haven't had your fill at this point, you're never going to be satisfied. What direction do Naruto games go from here? What kind of games can they make without what? Without Naruto? That's a great question. The ongoing anime is obviously Boruto, so what happens to Naruto at this point? Well, Boruto, even though it is pretty popular, it hasn't reached the levels of Naruto yet. But they can't just make more Naruto games without tapping into the Boruto universe because there's no cross-promotion there. If you're making a Naruto game, you're not promoting any anime. You gotta make a Boruto game in some way. But since Boruto isn't as popular, what I see for the future of Naruto games is just smaller and smaller stuff as far as scope, as far as budget. We're just not gonna get those big blockbuster games anymore. Once in a while someone asks me this and it's always a bummer when I answer, but I really think that's where it's headed. Which Naruto game would you say caught you the most off guard? A game you might have thought was going to end up in E or F but rose to be much higher than you initially thought. It was definitely Shinobi Rumble. Shinobi Rumble is listed as part of the Ninja Council series, and a lot of the Ninja Councils are towards the bottom of this list. So when I started playing Shinobi Rumble, I was totally not expecting something great, but I love that combat system. It was immediately obvious they were taking the series in a different direction, and oh my god, they kinda nailed it. Shinobi Rumble is really only held back by the limitations of the Nintendo DS. If this came out on a proper console, I bet people would remember Shinobi Rumble. It wouldn't be such a sleeper hit. The opposite also happened though. Games that I thought would rank a lot higher actually ended up ranking a lot lower. Ultimate Ninja is the biggest example for me. I played it so much as a kid. I love the crap out of the game, but playing it now, I really hate that combat system. Even as a party game, it kinda doesn't work because there's little to no variety in the items that drop, and even content-wise, it's kind of a slim game, especially when compared to other Ultimate Ninjas, so that ended up ranking a lot lower than I was expecting. Will you ever replay some of the Naruto games after finishing them? Which ones would you replay? I don't think I'm replaying any of them anytime soon, but who knows what I'll do in the future. I'm actually thinking of speedrunning Storm 4, so maybe I'll revisit that one first. Were there ever any games that you enjoyed way more or less than the ranking shows? This may seem like a stupid question at first. I mean, after all, why would I rank a game lower if I actually enjoyed it? But this is something that I always try to explain people. Sometimes we enjoy bad games, but objectively, it's hard to give those games a higher score because you can tell that, oh, this thing works for me, but there's not a lot to it here. It's hard to recommend for other people. Which is why I always say when it comes to reviews, not only for the ranking, but reviews in general, what matters is how the person got to the score and not the score itself. If you are just skipping to the score right away, you are missing the whole point. On this list, I would say the first Clash of Ninja, I enjoyed it a lot more than other games at D rank. Maybe it's because it's a fighting game and I'm kind of biased that way. Storm Revolution was a game that I enjoyed a lot less than other C ranks. And I think that's because Storm Revolution really did not improve the Storm formula formula at all, but that said, it uses Storm as a basis, and that already comes with some pre-made quality, so it's gotta rank at least at C. But when that came out, I remember thinking, people are just gonna stay on Storm 3, aren't they? Who is your favorite Naruto character, and which Naruto game series has your favorite combat? Well, the best Naruto character is easily Itachi. The Clash of Ninja series has the best combat. I would say Clash of Ninja Revolution 3 if I had to pick one. Shinobi Rumble's combat is also incredibly solid. Again, the game's just held back by being on the Nintendo DS. For you, what's the most out of left field character that's ever been playable in a Naruto game? Good question. Ultimate Ninja Heroes 3 has Pain 1, Pain 2, and Pain 3. So 2 paths of pain that we just never got to play in any other Naruto game. That same game, Heroes 3, also had that half step between normal Kabuto and Sage Mode, which is also a form of Kabuto that was only available in Heroes 3. Of course, there's the famous Lars crossover with Storm 2. That was a wild one for sure. But Shinobi Rumble had the frogs in a fighting game, and they were actually fun to play as. What type of idea or mode from older games you want for the next Naruto game? As an idea, and I saw this over and over throughout the ranking, whenever there's a story, you gotta have a ton of minigames or side activities with unique mechanics. Those are definitely very appreciated. Most of the lower ranked games are ranked lower because they were boring to play. They didn't vary the gameplay too much. They gave you a concept and said, play this for 15 hours. When you have unique minigames, when you have unique activities, it keeps story mode engaging, it keeps it fun, and that's why Rise of a Ninja was so good. That's why we enjoy the story modes of Storm. It's not for the 1v1 battles, it's for the unique boss fights, the quick time events, the unique mechanics that you cannot find anywhere else in the game. You can only find them in story mode. Even Clash of Ninja had some fun missions, even if it was mostly just 1v1 fights. So yeah, as an idea, try to keep your story mode engaging. The basic gameplay usually doesn't cut it for 10 to 15 hours. Do you feel that you are done with all Naruto content now? Not at all. There's still a lot of fan games to check out, and a lot of those fan games that we've already checked out are still in active development, so I'd like to check back in once they release some new stuff. And I'm also learning Japanese at the moment, so I can actually cover the Japan-only games at some point, but that will take a while. Don't count on that anytime soon. Learning a language takes some time. How many hours did you take to beat Storm 3 Kabuto boss, and which is the hardest game? Not even 1 hour. I don't think that was a hard boss fight at all. As far as boss fights go, the hardest one for sure is Orochimaru from Ninja Council 2 European. That is such a cheap boss fight and such a big difficulty spike, it's crazy. Hardest game for me was Kizuna Drive, but it wasn't even like fun difficulty, the challenge was just grinding. Kizuna Drive is built as a co-op game, so all the boss difficulty is scaled to that level, and it is possible to beat solo, but that means you gotta do all the side missions and grind like crazy. So that artificial difficulty, I don't think it's a lot of fun. Playing through all these games, did it make you feel nostalgic? And what was it that made you feel that way? With games like Ultimate Ninja, I was mostly disappointed, so not a lot of nostalgia there. I did feel a bit of nostalgia on Ultimate Ninja 3, 4, and 5, because I really like the story modes, the free roaming in those games. So when I jumped back in, yeah, I immediately remembered playing on my couch in my parents' house. It took me back to those times for sure. But Ultimate Ninjas were the games that I played as kids. I didn't play many others, so even if they were good, there was no nostalgia there to be felt. Ultimate Ninja 3 did blow my mind when I played it recently because of how good those cutscenes still look. Which game had your favorite filler? Powerful Shippuden. It was just so hilarious. The writing is the big reason why I rank that so high. I was laughing my ass off from start to finish. It's so well written. Clash of Ninja Revolution 2, I don't think it had a very good story, but it had very cool characters, and they carry that story a little bit. Kizuna Drive also has a very cool story. Shame that the game doesn't let you see it without you doing some massive grinding. Considering that this list has a lot of good and bad games, at which point of the tier list would you start recommending them? F and E are bad games, D and C are okay or mediocre, B and A are all the good games. But again, it's more than the score. There are games at D rank that I enjoyed more than games at C rank. So all that matters is understanding why I rank the games at the point that I rank them and figuring out if that might be a game for you even if I ranked it at a lower place. It'd be cool to do a video rapid fire explaining why each game is in each category, like an abridged version of the whole series. That's actually a great idea, and I might actually do that in the future. Thank you. Ranking of Dragon Ball games, when? We didn't know how long the ranking of Naruto games was gonna take. We kind of just did that first video and we were super ready to just do that one and no others. If that video didn't work out, that was it. That was gonna be the whole thing. We were not gonna have 2 years of videos, 2 years of me playing every Naruto game and ranking them. So at the time when we released the first ranking of Naruto video, we didn't know what we were in for. And now that we understand how big of a commitment this is, what I'm gonna do with Dragon Ball is first I'm gonna do a Twitch stream where I just gather information. I'm gonna list every Dragon Ball game, separate them by episode, see how long it would take me to play, finish all of them, and rank them into videos. Once I make that planning, we will evaluate whether or not ranking of Dragon Ball games will be a thing. But I'm not jumping in blind anymore. I'm not just saying, yes, I'll do it. No, I have to see the full list, and I have to have an idea of how long something like that would take. So hey, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Globku. That stream may be coming up soon. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for your questions, and that idea of the abridged series, I might actually take you up on that. And now that the ranking is over, you know my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. Like, what is your favorite Naruto game, and is there some game that you think is underrated? Storm 4 is most people's favorite for sure, so if that's your favorite too, what's another game that you think people should try out? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!